of them is from R.E.D.A. But it can take a sober position and say, this is too much here, and this is too much there. You feel me? So the best place for the believing man.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wasallam ala Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. On this 22nd day of the month of Shawwal of the year 1438 after the Hijrah, coinciding with the 16th of the month of July of the year 2017, we greet you all at the beginning of Islam, and we say to you all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are continuing our studies in the work entitled Minhaj al-Salikin wa Tawdih al-Fiqh fi ad-Din, the path of the journeyman and elucidation of jurisprudence in the religion and clarifying fiqh in the religion. This particular work has been authored by the esteemed scholar Abdurrahman ibn Nasir al-Sa'di. May Allah the exalted bestow expansive mercy upon his soul as he passes in the year 1376 after the Hijrah. And our focus, of course, is Kitab al-Nikah, the book of marriage, inside of this particular work. In keeping with review, in our last lesson, we covered some background concerning the author himself, who Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala is. May Allah have some mercy upon his soul. The work itself, what is this work? How did this work come about? And also where it kind of falls with the understanding of the madhahib of these schools of thought and things of that nature. We discussed that, and we entered into the book of marriage itself. And we discussed the fact that marriage is from the sunan of the prophets. It is from the traditions of the prophets. And we also covered one hadith that explains the encouragement to marry, a hadith that comes in al-Bukhari as well as Muslim, in which the hadith mentions whoever has the ability to marry should marry. And we covered the detail of what is meant in this particular hadith. We did have homework though. And as we recall, the homework was to define the word nikah. The word that is utilized for marriage is nikah. So we wanted to explore what the word nikah means in the Arabic language, as well as in the legislation of Islam, and we wanted to bring about some correlation between those two definitions. So we posed that question to the floor over the past week. What did we come up with? Barakallahu feekum. May Allah bless all of you.
I found it said that nikah, in Hans way anyway, said means marriage.
Nikah in the hands where states marriage.
Right. But then Muhammad Jabali said that the original Arabic word for nikah means intercourse, but was then applied to the marriage agreement because it is a means to intercourse. Mm-hmm. So when someone says the statement, he performed nikah on the daughter of so and so, means that he executed their marriage agreement.
Can you turn on the lights for this? The last thing that you said?
He did so when someone makes a statement in Arabic, he performed nikah on the daughter of so and so. And then he means that he executed the agreement.
Okay.
For the marriage.
Okay. Good. What did our sisters come up with? The same thing. Okay. Anyone else come up with anything further beyond that? Okay. So linguistically, the word nikah, it bears the meanings of ad-dam wa tadakhul. It bears the meaning of gathering, right, collecting, coming together, and entrance into something. Alaykum as-salam. Entrance into something. But the form in morphology, this particular scale, if you like, right? Tafa'ul Dakhala means to enter, right? Dukhul, to enter into something, right? Okay. This particular scale, though, right? Tafa'ala, of the meanings that it bears is musharaka, for participation in the action, meaning that there's more than one person participating in the act. So when we say tadakhul, we're saying that there's entrance into a thing, but there's more than one person that's participating in this entrance into that thing. So far, so good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, from the meanings of nikah linguistically is al-wat, as Ibrahim, may Allah preserve him, has mentioned, and to be frank and earnest, it's intercourse, right? From the meanings of it. By extension, it means a contractual agreement, because it is by way of the contractual agreement that the aforementioned becomes permissible. Whether it is the intercourse, whether it is the gathering, right, in that form of a union, right, the contractual agreement itself permits that. So it's said that from the meanings of nikah is al-aqd, right, is a contract, a contractual agreement. Legislatively, it's quite forward. Aqd al-tazweej, a marriage contract. Nikah means a marriage contract, a marital agreement. Yes. Aqd means contract.
I mean,
Ain qaf dal. Ain qaf dal. Well, since you brought that up, we'll mention this briefly, and then we'll go right back into. Aqada or aqd, it means for something to be tied or not, for something to be bonded, right? And this is why this word is utilized for a contract, because by way of that contract, we are now bound to one another because of this contract. We're tied together because of this contract. Interestingly enough, the word for theology also has the same origin. The word aqida. The word aqida comes from the same origin of aqd. It goes back to the same understanding of a knot or a bond or a tie, because we are speaking about the belief system, the theology that is bound to the heart of the individual, right? So our belief system is bound and tied to our heart, so we utilize a term that expresses that, aqida, right? Okay, theology. With that though, and we're not on the topic of aqida, but with that though, we should understand that the term aqida itself is a technical term utilized among scholarship. The term aqida is a technical term utilized in the language of scholarship. It is not a legislative term. It is not a term that you will find utilized directly in this context in a verse or a hadith. Now, we should understand that. We discussed previously, the goals of definitions and the different types of definitions. We've discussed that, but very briefly, the goal of any definition is to be jami' mani'. The goal of any definition is to be inclusive yet exclusive. To be inclusive yet exclusive. To include everything that the term means, and to exclude everything the term does not mean within that definition. That's the goal. And from the Islamic standpoint, the common definitions are threefolded. You will have lughatan, shar'an, istilahan, in no particular order. You will have linguistic meaning. You will have legislative meaning. You will have technical meaning. Linguistic meaning what the term means in the Arabic language, like we just discussed with the term nikah, what it means linguistically in the Arabic language. You will then have the legislative meaning, what this term means when you find it in a verse or a hadith. What does it mean in that context? You will also have at times a technical meaning, and this is istilah or mustalah. This means what the term what the term means when it's utilized in the language of scholarship. When scholars are utilizing this term, or people of scholarship are utilizing the term, what it then means. Yes.
I was going to ask you a question.
Fadal.
Like you said, how do scholars define it?
How do scholars define the term nikah? So marriage. So for the term marriage, we have a linguistic meaning. We have a legislative meaning. Good. The linguistic meaning of nikah is what? Review. What is the linguistic meaning of the word nikah? Marriage. In the Arabic language, what does the term nikah mean? Yes. Good. To enter into something, right? Tadakhul. To enter into something. But while it does mean to enter into something, there's another connotation that's there with that entrance, and that is what? Good. The scale, right? Tafa'ala is indicating what? Interaction. Good. So there's more than one party participating in this entrance, right? So that's one meaning, linguistically, Arabic language. Another meaning of nikah in the Arabic language is what?
Contract.
A contract. Good. A contract. But it means contract by extension because the word nikah in the Arabic language actually can mean what? Intercourse. It actually can mean intercourse, and it's by way of contracts that intercourse becomes permissible. So it can mean intercourse, but by extension, it means a contract. Good. And it also bears the meaning of a dam, right? To gather, to come together. A union, as it were. This is in the Arabic language. In the legislation, meaning when we see this term being utilized from the framework of verse and hadith, then the meaning is aqd tazweej, marital contract, marital agreement. That's what the term means, nikah. Okay? So that's what it means in the Arabic language. That's what it means in the legislation. So far, so good? Okay. Everyone on the same page? We're clear with the homework? Moving forward. The homework was to define the term nikah, to define the term marriage in the Arabic language and in the legislation, which we just did twice over. The author now presents another hadith concerning marriage. He states, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, تُنْكَحُ الْمَرْأَةِ لِأَرْبَعٍ. A woman is married for 4. A woman is married for 4, meaning 4 reasons. لِمَالِهَا وَحَسَبِهَا وَجَمَالِهَا وَدِينِهَا. For wealth, stature, beauty, religiosity. Again, wealth, stature, beauty, religiosity. فَاظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَمِينُكَ. So select the one who possesses religiosity. May your right hand be dust covered. In another narration, taribat yadaka. May your 2 hands be dust covered. This hadith is also muttafaqun alayhi. It is agreed upon, which you also discussed last week, what that means as well, that the hadith is agreed upon. When we say a hadith is agreed upon, what are we saying? It's collected in the 2 sahihs. Good. And this is a term of scholarship. So when we're speaking in the language of scholarship, when we say it's collected by the 2 sahihs, because there are many sahih books, which 2 books are we referring to? Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Yes? Okay, good. So then, what exactly are we saying is inside of Al-Bukhari and Muslim when we say a hadith is agreed upon? What exactly are we saying? We're saying it's authentic. We're saying the meaning. Good. In reality, when we say a hadith is agreed upon, meaning a hadith is collected in Al-Bukhari and Muslim, we're saying that the meaning of the hadith can be found in both Bukhari and Muslim. That's what we're saying. It is possible that you may find the same exact wordage, but more frequently you will find a varying wordage with the same meaning, as we just offered a different meaning, a different wordage. And maybe we said that incorrectly, so we'll reiterate it. When we say a hadith is agreed upon, we're saying one of two scenarios. The hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim with the same wordage and the same meaning. Not very common, but you find it. More often, you find it with the same meaning but varying wordage. Okay? And we just presented an example of that. For example, the wordage that's in front of us, Taribat yaminuka, may your right hand be dust covered. Another wordage, Taribat yadaka, may your two hands be dust covered. Different wordage, same meaning though. We follow that? That's what muttafaqun alayhi means, agreed upon means. All right? In the general sense, unless you are in the work Al-Muntaqa Al-Akhbar of Majduddin Abu Barakat Ibn Taymiyyah, the grandfather of Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah bestow mercy upon all of their souls. In his work Al-Muntaqa, when he says agreed upon, he means Bukhari, Muslim, and the Musnad of Ahmed. And that is since we mentioned it, that is a compilation of about 5,000 hadith, and its focus is hadith ahkam, hadith al-ahkam, hadith that deal with verdicts and rulings in Islam. And it is a primary work in hadith in the Hanbali madhab, although in the Hanbali school of thought, although it is utilized by other schools as well. It is said about this particular work that whoever memorizes it will never be in need of another evidence in fiqh after it. And there's a phenomenal explanation authored by Imam Shawkani, may Allah bestow mercy upon his soul, of this work called Nailul Awtar, that many people are familiar with, but they don't realize it's an explanation of this work in hadith. In any regard, the hadith itself, the Prophet ﷺ states that women are married for four. Women are married for four. For four what? Reasons. So women are married for four reasons, meaning that men marry women for four reasons. So far, so good? Okay. We offer you a hadith in principle and fiqh. In Nisa Shaqa'iq al-Rijal, the Prophet ﷺ has stated, women are the twins of men. Women are the twins of men. It's a principle. What does this principle mean though? Question for the floor. Yarhamukumullah. May Allah bestow mercy upon you all. And don't be shy to jump out there. If you fall, as always, you have a safety net. I'll catch you. Fahim's going to jump out there. 30,000 feet. Let's go. Women are the twins of men.
Women are the rib of men, meaning that they are the more nurturing.
They're more okay. Women come from the rib of man, so they're more nurturing and kind, and a lot more, such as the hadith mentions, right? What Fahim is saying is the rib is a crooked rib, and its most crooked part is its uppermost part, right? That's what Fahim is saying about the women, right? Barakallahu feekum. Good. So the meaning here of this principle is this: everything that applies to men in Islam also applies to women in Islam, unless there is a specific evidence to state otherwise. That's the principle. So, for example, any text you come across that speaks about brotherhood will by default also mean and include sisterhood, right? Don't be put off and misled by wordage, right? Hadith. None of you will believe until you love for your brother that which you love for yourself. Okay? But the principle is women are the twins of men. So if this applies to men, by default, it must also apply to women as well. Good. So we're saying that women are married for reasons. Yes.
You said unless what?
Unless there's a specific evidence to state otherwise. Okay? So we're saying that men marry women for 4 reasons. But women are the twins of men. So the hadith also means what?
The women marry for 4 reasons.
Women marry men for 4 reasons. Okay?
Same reason?
Huh? Same reasons. Don't be misled by the wordage. Okay, we're on principle. We follow? Okay. Women are married for 4 reasons. For her wealth, for her stature, for her beauty, for her religiosity. Good. Are there people that marry other people for money? Yes? Yes. I mean, you guys are a little reluctant. I don't know. Are there people that do that? Good. Let's change the inflection a little bit, okay? So are there people who marry other people for financial stability? Is this a reason why some people marry? Do people look for financial stability when they marry? Yes. Okay. Stature. This bears 2 meanings. The first meaning is hasab. It's hased. This is hasab with a ba, not a del. This is how we can explain this. There are people that they have done phenomenal or otherwise interesting things in their lives. And if not them, then maybe someone in their family or someone in their immediate lineage has done something interesting, something phenomenal. So a person wants to be a part of that. So you want to marry this person because of that. Okay? Can someone give us an example of what that may be? Huh? Anything. Because the reasons why people marry. People marry for religious reasons and for worldly reasons, huh? Okay, someone's grandparent is a scholar. Might be a woman, right? Someone's grandparent is a scholar. They're not a scholar, but the person's grandparent is a scholar. So they hold a certain level of prestige because their grandparent was a scholar. So now you want to, excellent. So now you want to marry to be a part of that, right? To marry the grandson or the granddaughter of famous scholar Z, right? Okay. In the U.S. of A, the Kennedy family is a family of prestige in this country. Yes? So just by being associated with this family, just by marrying into this family, it's quite possible that doors may open for you because you're affiliated with this family that may not as easily open for you. There are families like that, right? Okay, that's on a national scale, but on a local scale too. There are, in certain communities, in certain areas, there are families that are more prominent than others, right? It's a thing, right? We're in the DMV, right? So I'm not from here, but I'm going to jump out the airplane 30,000 feet, right? So we have in DC, we have the Patel family. If we're familiar with the Patels, anybody? I know this is Baltimore and the whole DC Baltimore thing, right? But it's only 45 minutes down the street, right? So there's the Patel family that's in the DC area, right? It's a very prominent family that's there, right? For reasons that we don't need to go into here, right? We can ask about that, right? Off recording, but in any regard, it's that maybe someone has done something. Maybe someone established a masjid. Maybe someone established a school or big business or whatever have you. right, sitting on the corner here, just off the corner of Division Street here, right? We don't always realize where we are. We have the house of Thurgood Marshall. It's sitting right there on Division Street, the block up, right? Okay, so Thurgood Marshall is a prominent individual in Maryland. Yes or no? And we're familiar with that. We don't need to go into that, right? Okay, maybe someone would want to marry someone that is of that family because of who Thurgood Marshall was, right? Okay. Under the umbrella of hasab, under the umbrella of stature or prestige, what's included inside of this is nasab, lineage, marrying because of lineage itself. Okay? This is interesting because of its positivity and also because of its sensitivity. We say it's interesting because of its positivity, due to the fact that we are meant to be cognizant of our lineage, where we come from, who we are, right? Knowledge of self, as it were. That is an Islamic concept. And we're meant to be maintaining and preserving our lineage by way of who we enter into this union with, this marital contract with. Okay? Now, while we're mindful of who our parents are and our grandparents and forefathers and where we come from, right? Maintaining culture and heritage and all of those things that are actually encouraged in our faith, it becomes an issue of sensitivity when a person only now wants to marry people who have a particular lineage to the exclusion of other lineages. How is that problematic and how is that sensitive? Like?
Race.
Huh? Good, like race, ethnicity, right? This enters into lineage. So now a person in honoring and maintaining their lineage, they have a preference to only marry people of a similar ethnic background. All right? And people that are not of that ethnic background would not be considered for these people. Why is that problematic? And does Islam allow it? Can we actually say that? We only are going to allow our son or daughter to marry people that are from our ethnic background?
Yes.
I think when you place
Ibrahim says yes.
when you place it as a principle and binding on your family, I think it's wrong.
Okay. When you make it a principle and it's binding on your family, that was wrong.
But preference, if you just suggest it,
Mhm.
for whatever reason.
Okay, so now we have two items on this issue. Now you're saying you have making it binding and it being a preference. Okay, what do our sisters say? Is it right or wrong either way? If we make it binding upon our sons and daughters, or if it's just a preference, is either one of those right, wrong, or indifferent? Doesn't matter. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 If you choose it over religiosity. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, we're putting the cart before the horse here, but let's say a person wants to marry an individual of a certain ethnic background, or the family wants to marry of a certain lineage or ethnic background, and then within that sphere, they also look for somebody who's religious. Is it wrong then? Now you say no.
I say it was problem again.
Go ahead. Okay, so we're back to Jihad's point, wanting and requiring. Okay, so which is either one okay? Is either one wrong? What are we saying?
You say
So you're saying they shouldn't require it, but it's okay to have a preference for it. That's okay.
I got a retake.
Now you have a retake. Okay, qualify your statement.
I think that if you look at us as Muslims looking at the Prophet
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
conducted that affair, that it would bring about exclusion of other ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily what Islam is about. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm thinking it's not such a good idea.
Okay, so everyone heard what Jihad stated? He's saying looking at the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the inclusiveness of Islam. Islam is an inclusive religion, right? So because of that, it would seem to be from the Sunnah to not exclude people from marriage based on ethnicity. Okay. Yes.
what is the question? The question is, should you do it? The question is it impermissible?
Well, we didn't get to either or yet. We're still discussing whether there's a difference between want and preference on this point. Is there a difference between of requiring, right? Requiring and wanting. Is there a difference? No? Either or, it's the same way. Either it's we all for it or we all against it. Huh? Either or. Okay. So how many people are saying, if we're considering this one and the same, how many people are saying this is allowable in Islam? We understand what we're talking about, right? Let's make this more loose. No. Okay. Look, so when you go to this happens to be, not exclusively, but this happens to be a predominantly masjid of peoples of African descent who are not continental Africans. Right? That's predominantly, yes, right?
Right.
Other people come here, a lot of other people come here, but that's what we see here, right?
Right.
Okay. If you walk down the street, drive down the street about 10, 15 minutes, yes, you may come into another masjid of people who are ethnically from a different region of the earth, right? Although other people may go there too. Okay? All right. Have you ever been single before as a Muslim? Yes? Okay. So you are people of African descent, right? Okay. So if you go to one of those masjids down the street, right? And you're looking for marriage, right? What's your expectation?
You got a problem.
Why would it be a problem? Jihad is saying this is the Sunnah. Right? So why would that be a problem? You need to find a husband. You need to find a wife. You go to Masjid X looking for marriage, right? But now you're telling me your expectation when you go to those places, wherever they are, right, in the U.S., your expectation is what? What's your expectation?
You got some work.
Generally, African American.
Okay, you go to a masjid that's not a predominantly African American masjid, and you're looking to marry. What's your expectation?
You shut down.
Do you expect to be received or do you expect to be rejected
Rejected.
on the marriage issue?
Rejected.
Reject you too? Already? How old are you? 11. Now you already got that in your head. Allahumma sta'ala. Okay. What about the rest of us? Yes. Go ahead.
I would expect prejudice, and I think that that's the distinction, because you can have a preference.
Uh-huh.
Prejudice.
Okay, you will be expecting prejudice, so you will be expecting to be prejudged.
Correct.
Okay. and in that prejudgment, would your expectation to be received as a viable candidate for marriage or not? Generally no. Generally no. Okay, so and we're saying that's problematic, and we're saying that's against the Sunnah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
That's not right.
That's not right. That's not right. We're saying that's not right. Is that what we're saying? That's not right.
What, having a preference is not against?
Huh?
Nah, what you saying?
Her having to deal with that,
Her having to deal with
him addressing her like that,
them addressing her like that.
being prejudiced. If she's expecting prejudice, if that's the case at that place, then that's wrong.
If that's the case at that place, then it's wrong. Okay. So to be turned down as a candidate for marriage because of one's ethnicity is wrong and non-Islamic.
No.
No, it's not.
So it's right to turn somebody down because of their ethnicity.
I think it's more in the matter of how you do it, but you can prefer somebody.
It's a matter of how you do it, but you can prefer someone. Okay, so if people of Arab descent prefer Arabs, that's okay. If people of Eastern African descent prefer Eastern African, that's okay. If people who are of European descent, right, prefer that, that's okay. If people that are of African descent prefer that, that's okay.
So is it the ideal? I mean, is that how community should be segregated? No.
Mm-hmm.
But is it a sin? Is it impermissible? I say no. It's not ideal, but it's not.
So it's not ideal,
Right.
but it's also permissible to do. That's what you're saying. Okay, so the result of that is we have the masjid where the African Americans are over here, the continental Africans are over there, the Arabs over here, the Nupaks over there, and then maybe sometimes we might visit each other, pop in for Jumu'ah, Asr, and we go back to our people.
I got it.
And that's okay.
No, I got it. Not. I think, so if a sister comes to a community that's predominantly not her race, and she wants to get married, and they exclude her, even though it's brothers there that's single and everything, but they just don't want her because she's black or whatever. I think based on the principle of the Prophet, so I'm saying,
So I said,
those who are able to marry, they're married. He didn't say whether if you wanted the person to be black, white, or this or that. So if they're at that age where they can be married and they don't based on her being black, I think that's going against them.
okay, good. Our time is running short, so we'll summate. So this is an interesting issue. Yes, we know in Al-Hujurat, our Lord has encouraged us to what? Good. This is why Allah has made us of varying ethnicities and nationalities, right? So that we can mix, get to know one another, right? Okay. Yet here, we're saying that there's room for this when it comes to marriage, though. There's room to prefer one ethnicity over another, or one line of lineage over another line of lineage, maybe even inside of the same ethnicity. A person may want a certain lineage. Okay? Okay. This issue here, we find in the Shafi'i madhab that it's allowable. We find in the Maliki madhab, for example, that it is not allowable. For example, we find in the Hanafi madhab that it's allowable. Okay, to marry for this reason, to marry in specified lineage, which by default will mean ethnicity. Right? To marry for lineage. So some of them say yes, you can consider this. Some of them say no. Right? Okay. Huh? Must be a majority that say yes.
You didn't say Hamid.
I didn't, because it's not clear in my mind right now. Okay. Now, to marry for beauty, we don't need an explanation of that, right? We understand that, right? Okay. And to marry for religiosity, to marry for religion, We often misunderstand what this means, though. Yes.
You said for statue, you said there were two. Then you said one, Hasib. You said under Hasib, lineage.
Neseb, right.
Neseb.
Neseb, right. So Hasib is prestige or stature, but under that broad umbrella is lineage. Okay? Those are the two. Right, prestige or stature, that there's there's a prominent figure in your family, or someone has done something great. You want to be a part of this, so you marry into that family, right? For example. Okay. But then under that lineage. Good. Beauty we understand. Religiosity, we often look, unfortunately, very surface level with that. So is she covering? How does she look when she covers? Full beard, right? Ask some very tertiary level Aqidah questions. You know, where's Allah? What are the categories of Tawheed? Right? Things like this we talk about, right? But it's very, you go to the masjid. Do you pray? And and then we. Who are the scholars? So you then we do all of that, get into the marriage, and we got problems. So which would mean that level of examination is not deep enough because it's not working. Right? We're not saying those things are unimportant. We're saying there are things that are more important, because if we got to the more important things, we wouldn't continue to have the same issues that we come across in this country, regardless of what state or city we go to. Right? That's from personal experience. Every state or city I've gone to, I come across the same issues, generally speaking, in marriages. Except for goodness, it's been so long since I've been down, I forgot the name of the town. In Arkansas. I want to say Fort Smith, Arkansas, right? But I can check it. Interestingly enough, they established a community, and this may be 10 years ago now, but 10 years ago, they told me that for 29 years, they had not had one divorce. So they're on children and grandchildren now, not one divorce. And it's a mixed community between primarily people of Arab descent and African American descent. No divorce. 29 years, almost 30 years. Right? When they got to year 30, they had one. That's why they were telling me 29 now. Right? But still. Right? We talk about us over here. It might be last week, right? So religiosity here, it means a person that their purview, that their worldview is one that is dominated by the hereafter, more so than that of this life. Okay? That's their focus. We're not saying that they are delusional, as though they're not living in the life of this world and functioning in this life, but their primary focus is the hereafter. When an individual's primary focus is the hereafter, their primary focus is Allah's pleasure, their primary focus is interacting with Allah's creation in a fashion that Allah is pleased with, all the other things will fall into place. All the other things will eventually fall into place. You follow that? As opposed to a person's primary focus being this life. We would then qualify that person as not being as religious, we'll say, regardless of what they may physically appear like, regardless of what their language may be, right? Regardless of the sound bites that they spew off, right? Alhamdulillah, and akhi, and the sound bites. That's what that is. That doesn't mean that there's meaning behind that necessarily. How many times a person say akhi, my brother? They don't mean nothing. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you. They want death for you, right? No. If the focus is on the hereafter, then they will be religious. That's what it means by religiosity here. We need to finish the hadith, but we're going to pause to restart this recording.